Hey, everybody. Welcome to, let me turn that a little bit. Today is Sunday, 6 o'clock, Sunday, September 10th. Unusual day for me to be here, but my classes, I do them not necessarily on Thursdays. So, and I started at 6 because I don't want to interfere with Gail's 8 o'clock slot. So I want to be able to go over there and watch her tonight too. She's got some interesting looking cards going on tonight. So let me know when you get here. Let me get over to comments, make sure sounds good. Hey, Deb. So I'm assuming sound is good. Everything. Oh, my nose is itchy. So we are going to get going. This month's class is all about 5x7 cards and the One Horse Open Sleigh paper. So that was this online exclusive paper. Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you. The online exclusive paper. So, and 5x7 cards. So we're doing 8 different cards. We're going to do 4 tonight and then 4 tomorrow night. You are cutting all your designer paper for this. So let me just go over quick what's with the deal with this class. So with this one, all 5x7 cards, 8 card kits, all different designs, 8 envelopes. Now the envelopes I've gotten from Amazon, and I'll show you what they are, but they are 5x7. You're getting a quarter pack of the One Horse Open Sleigh paper, and you will be cutting it yourself. So if you already have this, I mean, it's only 12 sheets of paper, right? And we're going to use just about all of it for all of our cards. So you're not going to have any real leftovers. Then you're going to get a full pack of these Snowflake assortments, which are self-adhesive. They're pretty cool. Everything cut, scored, things that are embossed are going to be embossed, punched out, everything ready for you. Total is $41 for the packet, $9 if you need shipping. So if you can pick it up, only $41. And I do need that by September 20th. So the 20th, let's go over some other dates. So I put the order in on the 20th. I expect to receive it on the 29th because it generally, I think the 20th is next Wednesday, and it always takes at least 7 business days. Well, now that shipping's better, it takes 7 business days to get stuff for me. Hey, Julie. So I expect to have things by Friday the 29th. And then I'll have everything cut and ready, and it'll ship out on the 30th. And that is a Saturday, and our post office is open. So I plan to get things shipped out. Now, the $9 shipping, if it's less, I'm going to refund you. So I do that with everything. Like if it ends up being, and it's got to be more than like 50 cents. So usually I come in very close and it's like a 25-cent difference. So that works out. So let's get to it. So if you already have everything, I'm going to go over the measurements. Like as we go through each card, I'm going to give you the measurements. And then after tomorrow's class, I will update my blog and post all the measurements there so you can recreate these yourself. All right, let's go down here. And I didn't mention it, but I'm using a variety of greetings. So I wanted this to be, anything you have that will work, because the focus is really on the papers and like the cards themselves. So let's get to it with our first one. Now I did show you some of these last week or the week before. I can't remember. All right, so here, let's just go over this again. So this is what you're going to get. In addition to all your card kits and envelopes, you get these Snowflake gems, which I love them because they're copper, gold, and white. And we're using all of them. And then you get your quarter pack of the One Horse Open Sleigh paper. So I'm going to cut this with you, and we're going to go through your pieces that are already prepped for you. So for this first one, this is the bookbinding fold card. So 5x7. I love it. And so you're going to pull out this piece of paper and we're going to cut that. Come on. Oh, here we go. All right. Now the thing with cutting this piece, since this is, 5x7, let me look at my measurements. We're going to cut our DSP at 4 7/8 inch tall by 5 7/8 inch wide. Now, why does that matter? Well, because I wanted to score this at 1 inch. So that means this panel right here is 5 by 6. So we've got to trim this down just a wee bit. So you get to decide, like, how much do you want to cut off the top or bottom, you know, depending where you want your house to land. So let's cut that first. So like I said, we want, let's leave that there. We want this to be 4 7/8 by 5 7/8 across. And I think I started with taking just 1 inch off the bottom. And then we'll flip it around and 4 7/8. And then we want this to be 5 7/8 across. So I'm just going to take a teeny bit off, 1/8 inch off the, let's think that's right, 5 1/2, 5 3/4, 5 7/8. All right, that just didn't look right. All right, so there's our piece. 4 7/8 up top, 5 7/8 across. All right, now this little piece we're going to save. This little one cut off because we're going to use it on the side. And actually, let's just go ahead and cut that too. So this side bit is, we want it to be, this is going to be a 1 inch layer or 1 inch flap. So I want it to be 7/8 by 4 7/8. So we're going with just 1/8 inch borders. Hey, Sue. Yeah, we're just doing some 5 by 7 cards. So 4 7/8. And then I want this to be 7/8 this way. I always have trouble. I think that looks about right. Okay, we'll see. All right, so 7/8 by 4 7/8. That's what we're making. Now we need 2 pieces. Here's our DSP. We need 2 pieces of 5 by 7 Night of Navy. So normally with a book fold, we would have a seam here along this side, and we're just folding this over and then gluing it down here. But we don't have cardstock that is 14 inches long. So that's why we're piecing together 2 pieces. So Night of Navy, 5 by 7. We're going to score just one of them. And I'm going to have your scoring done. Don't worry. But I just wanted you to see everything in action. So we're scoring one at 1 inch. All right, that's going to give us our bookbinding piece. All right. And then we fold that. And then I'm going to glue it down this way. So you see, this is where we're going with this card. And then this is going to go here. And then our DSP over here, which this green really does pick up some of the business over here. Then we've got a piece of white. So this will be for our inside. And this white is 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. And then we've got a 2 inch circle of Night of Navy and 1 3/4 inch circle of Misty Moonlight. Now your greeting, you're going to pick whatever fits in this circle. All right. Now the ribbon. So I haven't put anything together yet because for this one, I want to do a little different. I'm going to give you like, let's do a whole, whatever this is, 16, 17 inches. Let's go 16. This is the new Night of Navy and Gold ribbon, and it's really sparkly. So I just tied a knot here. I tied a bow, but a lot of times I like to add it on this, you know, wrap around that area first. So I want to tie that in a knot. So let's do this. We're going to glue our designer paper layer down first. And this is why I don't really take pictures beforehand, because sometimes like this, I want to change it up when I actually go to make them. And something wasn't quite centered about that cut, but I'm going to have to get over that. All right. I want to just wrap this around and tie it in a knot. Now, this ribbon is pretty thick. So we've got a 1 inch flap and the ribbon is 1/2 inch. So it's going to take up most of this, but that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to tie it in a knot. And then hopefully I can shift this around some. This will work. All right, do that. Yeah, this is perfect. All right, and then we'll just trim. I do like the gold. It's very sparkly. Nice. All right, I'm going to leave this right where the knot is. So now I want to glue these together, and I'm going to put a lot of glue all over the ribbon as well. My nose is running a little. We went and had Indian food earlier, which is delicious. But then I had some heartburn. Okay, and now the nose. So I'm going to hold these together. Tap, tap, tap. Tap the bottom so everything is straight. And now I just have to hold it with my hands until, hi Cynthia, just till it grabs, till this glue grabs. And if you had, I mean, like sticky strip would work, or the tear and tape, but I do like the glue. I've been trying to use up my this other tape, my fast fuse, but that I would not have trusted in this situation. Okay, so that's good. We've got our flap open. Very nice. All right, this is a little bit wobbly for me. You know what? I'm going to put a glue dot under here because that's how we fix things. We tape them down. All right, let's peel that up and push. So I just must not have gotten my ribbon pulled taut enough. Okay, now let's add our designer paper to the front. Now, if you don't like the 1/8 inch borders, you could totally go with a 1/4 inch. 1/8 inch is a little tight, but that's okay. All right. And with this blue background, if you're a little bit crooked, you're not really going to notice, right? Okay. Man, I love it. So I really wanted the focus to be on this little house here. And that's where I picked that greeting, love and warmth, because I thought I wanted something like from our house to your house, or, you know, something or other, but I just couldn't find that. All right. And then this I'm going to put on the inside. And again, this one was 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. And we're going to go put that right there. All right. Now our greeting. So anything that's going to fit in this 1 3/4 inch circle. We're going to do Night of Navy ink because this is Misty Moonlight paper. And I went with Love and Warmth. This is from, let me lean over and get it. Ringed with Nature. So it's not necessarily Christmas, but it's definitely holiday, right? And you can put whatever you want. And that's the beauty of this. Like, if you don't want to make these holiday cards, you can make them whatever you wish. All right, let me find, I think it's this one. Let me just see if Thinking of You will fit. I don't know that it will. All right, this one in particular, it will fit, but I'm going to go with the Love and Warmth just because I really do need to use these as holiday cards. Oh, that's the other thing that I brought out. I forgot. I wanted to use last year's festive, framed and festive for some. Oh, I keep leaning over. But I don't think any of these, yeah, From Our Home to Yours, but it doesn't fit on my circle. So this will come in later. All right, so let's get our ink block. And Night of Navy. And just press that down. And I'm going to leave that navy ink pad out because I don't remember exactly. I haven't touched these in about a week, so I've forgotten what I used on all of them. But this we're just going to attach. And then we're going to pop up our circles. And I'm going to go in the same area as the original one, like down in this corner, because I don't want to cover up any of this tree. So I want it to go like right here. Oops. And my adhesive tower fell. Not tower, but all these foam things in my little holder. All right. I need a new situation for that. Okay, so dimensionals, foam tape, whatever you have. And then I will show you, because I did grab a stack of the envelopes. So when I cut your kits, everything, all the pieces that you would need. So it would be like the Night of Navy pieces, the white, your circles, everything would be scored and folded up in your envelope. And this one, I would probably use a white envelope. So these are the envelopes that I've gotten from Amazon. This is a craft and vanilla and white. So all these pieces would come tucked in this one envelope. Okay, and these are the peel and stick kind. So let's just show you, fits in here. It does go in perfect. There we go. Now I will have to weigh these. I do think some of them are going to be overweight. This one doesn't feel like it, but I will know for sure. After tomorrow, I can weigh everything. So there's our first one. Pretty easy. Book binding card. So I love making these in like A2 size, but that's been the fun part of designing this class, is taking some old good designs and making them bigger, making them 5x7. So that's our first one. I'll start a pile down here. Now the second one, we're going to go with, now see, this is crumb cake cardstock, and this is the craft envelope. So it's a little bit like the envelope. Let's get that closer. The envelope is a little darker, but I can either use all white or mix them up some. So who knows? I may do all white. We'll see. Okay, so this one, we've got, this one's just a pretty standard layer, but I like it. Like with the white layer, I think it really stands out. And we've got our white inside. So you've got crumb cake, 7x10. That's the magic measurement just to make a 5x7 card, because then we score it in half at 5. So crumb cake, 7x10, scored in half at 5. Then we've got two pieces here. One is white. This is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Again, this is for the inside. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in right now. And of course, if you wanted to stamp snowflakes or something on the inside of this, that would be cool. All right, the only thing, since I've gotten used to glue, glue has more wiggle room when I'm trying to put my papers on the inside versus this tape. All right, then we've got another piece of white that is 4x6. So in this case, we're going to cut our designer paper. And I just want to double check. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, my DSP is 4x6. This piece is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Duh. Let me just double check that. Oh, you know what? I messed that one up. 4x6. All right, so redo. Now that's probably the wrong pile. Another pile may have the right one. All right, so we're going to cut our white 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Because yeah, the designer paper being 6x6, 4x6 is really maximizing that. Okay, so we've got our white layer that is now the correct size, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Then we want to find our little fox paper, and we're just going to go through that, and we're going to cut that at 4x6. That's going to be the easiest part. Okay. The only tricky part of this is figuring out where do you want this fox. So I kind of like it like where he is down here. So I can cut this at 6 and then we'll see where do we want him. All right, so cut this at 6. Oh, it's already 6. Duh. We just have to cut the 4 inches. So if I cut it at 4 inches here, he's kind of in the middle. And I think that's what I did. All right, so let's just go with it. So 4 by 6. And in this case, I'm also bringing in a snowflake stamp. So any snowflake you have, all right? Because we're just going to stamp some snowflakes all around up here. That's just to give it some extra little color and interest. All right. So I'm using the new sparkling snowflakes. You use whatever you have. If you got these and you like them, awesome, use them. If you have other snowflakes, I am using the ones that are detailed though, not the more solid images. And I want this winter greetings from here. So I'll just pull that out. All right, now the inks that I'm going to use for this are crumb cake and copper clay. Now, if you don't have copper clay, and that's for the greeting, if you don't have copper clay, you could emboss in copper embossing powder. Or you could use, what's a close one? Pecan pie would be close. All right, but for us, we're going to do the crumb cake. We're going to do the snowflakes and crumb cake. And then our greeting in the copper. So let's do greeting and get our snowflakes. I need a little side table to hold more junk. Okay. All right, so random snowflakes. We're just trying to, fill in some of that white space because there's a lot of white space on this, like over here. And keep in mind the greeting's going to be here. So if you've got 3 different size snowflakes, start with your largest one first. All right, and I'm stamping off on these as well because that is too dark. All right, so I'm just going to do that there. And then I've got another one here, partial anyway. And I'm going to clean these off as I go. And then we'll go the medium size. And if you didn't want to stamp off, you don't have to. I just thought it's just too dark, too dark. And we just want something to break up all that white space. And then our smallest one, let's go down here and up here. And I think that'll do it. Now, if we want to do snowflakes on the inside, this is where maybe we could do them full strength. And actually, let's just go ahead and do that. Even though I already added it, let's do a couple. Oops. That didn't ink very well. All right. That'll be good. And then I'll do one more up top. I usually like to hang them off the edge, but that's what I get for not doing it first. I like it. Okay, so crumb cake. We're finished with our crumb cake. And you guys, these are really not taking a lot of time to get these cards done. All the tricky part is cutting it, and most of that's going to be done for you. Or if you're cutting, if you're doing yours on at home, it's gonna be easy. All right, this I'm gonna have to trim a little bit. I must not have trimmed it great. Ooh, I like the back side of that. All right, let's put this in here, just centered. But I can tell I'm gonna want to cut just a smidge off of here because it's a little bit off, and that's gonna bother me. So I'm using winter greetings. Anything's good like for snow. If you have warmest wishes, something else. whatever you want. Because really, I've got about 10 different sets pulled out here, but they're mostly just for the greetings. All right, so we're going to go. This is getting popped up just with a little bit of foam. And then we're popping our greeting up too. So let's get this down. And I'm going to grab what's got most of a roll. Now the greeting bit, I've got a die cut. You can see this. We've got a die cut of white. This is from the Stylish Shapes dies. And then I've got a strip that's 5/8 inches wide. And I will show you why in a minute because it sits behind that die nicely. But your crumb cake piece is going to be however long, probably 5 inches by 5/8 inches. Just because I don't know how long you want your bit here to be. Plus, if you don't get the dovetail cutting right and you mess it up. Hey, Helen, 2 hours difference here. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. Well, you've only missed the first card, and then this is the second card. It is the floor at my house. Oh. All right, let's do this. Glue. So yeah, as I'm going through all the measurements of things, but I will have my blog updated after tomorrow's the next 4 cards tomorrow. I'm gonna just do everything on one blog post. But with this kit, you're cutting your own designer paper. I'm giving you a 1/4 pack of it and a pack of these Snowflake gems, and then everything else is cut and scored. All right, let's do that. Now for our greeting. So winter greetings, that fits perfectly in this little tab that we've got, or our little label. So we'll do copper clay. And again, if you don't have copper clay, just use embossing, like gold embossing or copper. All right, and I'm just gonna try to get that straight-ish. Good enough. I really like this though because it's gonna go really great with the copper snowflakes. Okay. So let's put these side by side so you can see. So see how we've got the little crumb cake piece behind here. So what I did is I glued this, and you can start at the end. So in case you mess up, you can do it down here. So I'm just going to tape this label right to this 5/8 inch strip of crumb cake. And then I came in and hand cut these dovetails to match, or, you know, doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so you see there, close enough. And I'm going in maybe, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or so, whatever it takes, whatever you feel comfortable with. So that's that. So we hand cut that. So this is enough room in case you mess up, you can try it again. All right, and then we're going to pop this up and add some of our copper snowflakes. And I have to put these stamps on the ground to get them out of the way. All right, let's use some of this. All right, right there. And then I kind of wanted it over in this corner because there's like a lot of white space over here. And I like it to hang over this side a little bit. I gotta hold it up so I can kind of see straight. Okay, love it. All right, and now we'll add some of our snowflakes. So we'll do, there's 3 different sizes here. There's big, medium, and small. So I wanted to hit all of them. And we'll do 1 and a 2 and another one. I love it. So easy, but you know, the focus is on the designer paper for sure. But with just a little bit of extra paper and some die cuts, I think we get some good things. All right, so that was number 2. Now number 3 has this bird. So before we get into it, I'm using the bird from the So Very Merry. Whatever bird you have though, okay? So you're going to get a quarter piece of thick, basic white thick. And I did that because if you wanted to use watercoloring, if you wanted to use alcohol markers, regular markers, whatever you wanted, thick is like the best for most of those. So I wanted to give you choices. All right, so let's do, actually, let me stamp this first because I am using, I'm going to use my VersaFine Onyx ink, and we know that takes forever to dry. So again, So Very Merry, I'm just pulling the bird out from this one. And if you want a more realistic bird, or if you have an owl, whatever you want. So I'm going to stamp this guy. And then I'm going to let it dry. And I can put it right in this corner because we're going to be hand cutting it. So if you had one that had a die, you could just cut it out. All right. And then I want to wipe this down. And then we'll go into our packet. Now, if you get the packet, you also get the PDF, which just has everything printed out with all the individual pictures, which is really the same thing that's going to be on my blog. But some people like to have it handy. All right, I'm going to leave that. So what else we have? We've got our Misty Moonlight. And again, this piece is 7 by 10, scored in half at 5. So if you're making it yourself, 7 by 10, fold in half at 5. All right, then I've got same thing for the inside as before, 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. This is basic white. And I'm just going to put that on the inside. Okay. Then our layer for this is boho blue, same as the last one, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then we've got 2 of these label pit pieces. These are Misty Moonlight and Basic White. These are cut with the something fancy birds. Yeah, can we use that big fat bird? Yeah, do you mean from Perched in a Tree or something? You could certainly use that. You could use any bird you want. Any bird that's going to fit on the paper that I've given you. Yep. Yeah, definitely. Whatever bird you want. And then we want this piece that's got this yellow and pinkish background. So we want to do that. And again, we're going to cut this 4 by 6. So it's already 6 inches tall. So we just have to decide, do we want to just cut it 4 inches here? I think that's what I did. If there was an image that was more in the middle, then you would maybe want to take an inch off each side. But for now, I'm just going to cut it at 4 inches across. And if you want it, because I want this path, like most of that, just because I like that yellow. If you like this tree part better, then do that one. Actually, should I just do it anyway? Just so we see a difference? Sure. Why not? So at least then we won't have the same, it won't be exactly the same. What I can tell now, though, is this like takes center stage, whereas before I had cut that off. But that's going to be fine. Okay, so all we're doing is gluing this on, and I'm still letting this dry. All right, let's get this out of the way. Use up this tape. So you're going to have some strips and bits left over. And I think that'll be the challenge for everybody, just to figure out how you're going to use those. Maybe make a card out of just random strips. Okay. And again, we're going to pop this up. And I'm going to use the same foam. And then we're going to stamp our greeting. So this Let Heaven and Nature Sing, that is coming from that Perched in a Tree set. Like I said, I was going to use a variety, a whole bunch of different greetings. And I'm pretty sure everybody has a lot of different choices. And you know, they don't even have to be Stampin' Up. It's whatever works, right? Whatever's going to fit in this label that I've already die cut for you. Thanks, Julie. Yeah, I wanted them nice, like pretty, but pretty easy too, right? And there's a couple. So there's 2 easy ones each day and then 2 fun folds. And the fun folds are always definitely interesting. But I feel like I want to give people some fun folds in their kits because they may not cut and score everything on their own. You know, just give them more things to try. Okay, let's get this kind of in the middle. Middle-ish. Does that look? That looks good. Yeah, most of these fun folds I took from some of Sue's videos and just made them bigger. So, all right, let's do that. Then let's get our greening in here. And again, I'm going to go with, I'm doing Night of Navy ink. Even though there's no real Night of Navy on here, I like that it's darker. I feel like it stands out more. But you could use Misty Moonlight if you wanted. And where did I have that? Perched in a tree. Here we go. But yeah, Helen, you could use whatever bird you want. Like, and before, if you've got an owl, you could use an owl. Any critter, really. What if you had one that was sitting on the ground? Maybe a deer or something that could be down here instead. That would work too. All right, let's do this block. And that's mostly straight. Okay. So we're going to stamp this and attach it. And then hopefully my bird is dry enough that I can start coloring. And I hope I got this straight, but if not, oh, nailed it. I was going to say, if not, I'm not going to cry about it. All right, I can clean that one later. And I do need to let that sit for a minute. That blue ink tends to want to bleed or, you know, smear. Meanwhile, I'm going to get my markers. So I just used regular markers to color this bird. And I used actually last year's and this year, or 2 years ago. So I still have these from Magenta Madness, Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, whatever that one was, Bumblebee, and Cinnamon Cider, I think. So I use those and the new ones. But you use whatever markers you want. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, I didn't get last year. So the ink colors that we got last year with the Parakeet Party, the Orchid Oasis, Starry Sky, those ones, I didn't get those in regular markers. I got those in Stampin' Blends. So, that's a little hairy right there. All right, we're going to dimensional these. I think I was thinking at the time, like, why should I get both kind of markers for the end colors? You know, we never know if they're coming back or not. All right, and I really don't color. I definitely color more than I used to, but I still don't color a whole bunch. All right, now this is kind of like, it's not dead in the middle. It's a little bit lower because I kind of wanted that bird in the middle. All right, let's do that. I like it. Little finger schmutz right there. I can already see it. Ugh. All right, let's bring our bird in. Now, all these pieces that we have cut off, we're just going to make a pile. And then maybe we can do something with them later. So let's color this guy. And then we'll cut them out and pop them up. So I really do like the new regular markers, the Stampin' Rights, because this bullet tip is really nice. As far as writing and coloring, like the fact that it doesn't have a pointy tip doesn't bother me at all. This looks darker. I wonder if I've used a different color. I thought I used this one. And it doesn't have to be like real life colors here. All right, and then I'm going to do the copper clay for leaves, because this will be fall or winter. And then let's do, we've got boho blue and misty moonlight. And then the yellow. Oh, you know what? Was that supposed to be part of the bird or the branch? It's part of the branch now. All right, so the blues, I did all the yellow the same. So this is, and there's a pointy end on this fat end, but I still just have to take my time. So if you wanted shading, definitely go with the blends. But I wasn't too concerned about that. Now, when I color these birds, I wanted just differences. So I wanted like the lighter up here, and then down here, and then here, and then a couple of different bits like up through here. Maybe this one. And then the rest I colored in a darker, because think about like a stained glass. You know, the pieces are all a little bit different, right? Oh, yuck. This is the old style. Gross. This one better. Yeah, that's okay. I am so glad they changed that. You know, when I first started, I bet I have markers left. Real red, I know I have. Garden green, old olive, and night of navy that were like the old style and where the tips actually worked and stayed nice. And those are still good. I keep those in my pile like only I use them. Hey, Lisa, thanks. All right, so we've got our bird colored, and I am going to hand cut him. That's going to be the long pole in this tent. And then give him some Winkostella all over and pop it up. And let me check on time. 1/4 of. Okay, good. So our next one is a fun fold that came from Sue. This was the trickiest one to get changed over from like A2 to 5x7, but I figured it out and I love it. All right, let's go around here. And did I get in all the nooks and crannies? Yep, I did. So yeah, if you had a different critter that had a die, you could just certainly die cut it out. Now, would I sit here and make 10 of these? Probably not. Would I make 3 or 4? Probably. That's about all I would be able to cut without like driving myself nuts. Okay. But yeah, this bird doesn't really take a whole lot to cut around him. All right, getting down to the end. And yeah, there we go. Whew, okay. Oh my God. All right, so I want him to be like right here. I want some of the branches to be hanging over top of my greeting. So this will just be a little bit of maybe put some glue behind here and then dimensionals on the actual bird. Short trip. Yeah, Sue, for driving me crazy. Yeah, driving myself nuts. You know me. Who are you kidding? Like, if possible, you would be in the passenger seat. There we go. Birds of a feather flock together. All right. Okay, peel these up. So far, nothing crazy with this. Just getting that designer paper cut. And let's see, put that right there. I love it. All right, now let's do Winkastella. Hey, Carol, how are you? Okay, so this is, and I'm going to do this all over. Now, you got to be careful when you're using Winkastella on the Stampin' Right markers, because remember, they're water-based, and there's kind of like water in here. So it may bleed some of your colors. So I'm going to go lighter colors first. I am coloring the whole thing, and then I'll just, dab it off a little, because I don't want to blend my blues and yellows. And then let's do the leaves. Okay. I like it. You can see that sparkle. Yum, yum, yum. All right. Now, if you wanted to put snowflakes on them, put snowflakes on them. I left these as is because I think these are like leaves. I guess we could cover that up, but I didn't. So that's our card number 3. And if you want to do anything else on the inside, go for it. Number 4. So this will be the last one for today. And then we'll do 4 different ones tomorrow. So this is, oh, you're hanging out in the fire pit? That sounds awesome. Sounds like a good time. For sure. Oh, yep. I should have put my pin in here. So this one is called, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. All right, get this going. Let me turn my page. This is and Sue can probably tell the name of it, triple panel Z-fold. So it's 5x7. Look at that. And then here's how it sits up. So it looks kind of like there's a box. I love it. And we've got the timber embossed folder. Yeah, Sue, this is already your fave. Now, again, it's all just about cutting, scoring, embossing, really designer paper, designer paper, designer paper, designer paper. The only thing we're stamping is the greeting. And this is where I did bring in last year's framed and festive, but you could use whatever. And then I added the copper snowflakes. But this is such a cool fold. And this one I got from Sue. So I forget what I made. I wrecked the first one that I made, the regular size. Remember, I tried to get fancy and lift these layers up, and then it was like leaning. But let's get into it. So we've got Pebbled Path and Early Espresso for our colors. All right. And this is for the back. This 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 again for the back, because you got to have somewhere to write your message. And if you didn't want to put this here, or if you wanted to do it smaller, that's fine. You're going to have this to cut out anyway, right? So let's do, let me get this out of the way. We have to start out with 2 pieces of Pebbled Path. Now we're going to end up cutting one of them, and we're going to have like a little bit left over that we throw away, but that's fine. I thought it was easier just to tell you guys to start with 2 pieces the same. All right. So these are 7 by 9 Pebbled Path, 2 pieces, and we're going to score them the same. Then we also have 1 piece of Early Espresso, and this is, well, let me look. How about maybe I just check? I think it's 3.5. Yep. 3.5 by 5.5. So we're going to be cutting our designer paper to be 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. Right? Yep, 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. Then we've got 6 pieces that are already embossed for you. These are 1 3/4 inch squares. All right, and they're all the same. I embossed them with the timber folder. Yeah, the deer is so cute. And we're going to use 2 different pieces of designer paper. Then we have scraps that are 1 3/4 by 4 inches each. They should be. They don't look it the same, but we're going to use this for our greeting. And I am trimming the white down anyway. So those are our pieces. Now, designer paper. So we're going to go through and pick out. We want this trees background. Do that right there. And the one with the deer. That deer is so sweet. Okay. So let's go ahead and cut our designer paper first, just so we get that out of the way. So again, we want this guy to be 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just double checking myself since I haven't looked at this. Yep, 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. So if you want him right in the middle, make him right in the middle. I kind of wanted him like off a little bit. So it looks like I took maybe an inch off here. And all right. Ugh. So 1 inch off the side, that'll be 5 inches. And then 3 1/4. So I'm going to flip this upside down and go 3 1/4. And then we want it to be 5 1/4 tall. So how much do you want? How much white space do you want? You know, we've got to put it on a piece like this. So I'm just going to cut it right from the bottom. So we'll do this at 5 1/4. All right, that's going to go like that. Then our designer paper, our trees background. Now, if you didn't have designer paper, if you're just going to make that, hey, Gloria, if you're just going to make this and you want to use something other than designer paper, just emboss some pieces. So we want to cut these are all going to be 1 3/4 inch tall by 4 3/4 inch across. All right, so we start with the across part first. So 4 3/4 across. And then, you know, save all your little bits. You might do something with them. Then I'm just going to turn it to the left and cut 1 3/4. And then I'm going to make a pile. Another 1 3/4. And then a third one, 1 3/4. Okay. Now this little bit, I mean, I wouldn't really do much with those, so, but that's up to you, right? Okay, now our 2 main pieces. These are all going to get scored the same way. All right. Hi, Anna. Excuse me. Almost caught me. So this we want to score at, I want you to see how they're going to be the same. So like, here's a Z fold, the base piece, and then these parts on the front, still a Z fold, but the same measurements. So everything, both of these, 7 by 9 along the 9 inch side. Sorry, we're going to cut it, score it 2, score, not cut. Score it 2, and then I like to flip it over and score at 4. All right, because you know I like to fold and bury the bump. Sorry. Hold, please. All right, so we're scoring again. Score at 2. Flip your paper. Score at 4. All right, now one of these we're going to cut into 2 inch strips. Doesn't matter which one because they're both the same, right? So let's bring our cutter back up. And I'm going to have this part cut for you, cut and scored for you. But this I got to show you so you can make it on your own. So 2 inches, 2 inches, and 2 inches. So then we have this piece that's, you know, about an inch. I'm just going to throw it away. It's just easier to have you cut everything the same and then score everything the same, right? Okay, now let's go and just fold all of our, make all of our fold marks. So it doesn't matter which side, how I've got my score mark that goes down, that's why I like to fold that in. So that's what I mean by bury the bump. And then I'm going to press that. And then this one should be opposite. That's going to give us our Z. All right. So that can be our base. And now our other pieces, we're going to fold them the same. So we get Z's. Now these are going to go this way. And I'm just going to make a pile. So yeah, after tomorrow's video where we do the next 4 cards, then I will update my blog and I'll just have one blog post for all the cards together. I used to try to do them separate like every night, and that's just too much. So everything all together in one is pretty convenient anyway, right? Okay, now this piece we're not ready for just yet. I'm just going to set that over. We've got our 3 pieces here, and I want to make sure the trees are all lined up because we're going to see, we only see a little bit of it realistically, like, you know, the bulk of it's covered up, but I just want them to line up if they can. All right, so we're just going to take our pieces and glue or tape these on the long part first. I do all the designer papers, then I do all the embossed little squares on these side bits, and then we glue this to the base. All right, so that's going to go. I want to keep these in order. Yeah, Sue, I'm really glad you found this fold because I think it's neat. Yeah, and if you didn't want to, you know, write along the whole, that big back piece, you know, you could really take up you could write a dissertation. A 5x7 card is really pretty roomy. Okay, so that's that. There's our 3 layers. Then I like to glue when I've embossed. So these are all embossed with a timber folder. You decide if you want it to be lumpy part up or a lumpy part down. The down really looks more like wood paneling, but I kind of like it up. So I did up in my sample, so I'll do down. And it doesn't matter about, just have the grains all going the same direction. Right? All right, so let's do this. And since it's tone on tone, like if it's not perfectly square, no one's going to notice. Because I like to, I know Gail will do cutting it, and then she embosses it, then cuts it. And that's good because then it gets like, you know, better, better straight edge. But I always do it. I cut my pieces first and emboss them, and I don't really go back to it unless something's hanging off wonky. It all works, right? All right, and then these. And I only went with the timber folder because we've got these trees. But if you had something that was more holiday-ish, you could certainly do that if you're making these on your own. And different colors too. Different designer paper. The trickiest part is the measurements. And I've done the hard part for you. Okay. And last one. And I think it only took me 2 tries. Like, there was definitely mess ups. So believe me, not everything works right the first time. Like, I had everything sketched out and then it didn't work. So, all right, we've got our pieces. Then let's get this layer going. Oh, I love that guy. That little deer is so sweet. Tell you, they really do a good job with the designer papers for sure. I'm looking forward to getting one of those new special ones. Okay, that looks straight. All right, now we are ready for assembly. So, can you kind of see, like, we're going to be gluing down this side, and then we're gluing down this side. And then, I can't stand it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so let's bring our base in. So this is our left side. All right, so when we sit it up and we look, we've got that going, that corner. So we want to fold it up, start at the bottom, and you do want this to go to the bottom. I tried to be cute and put my first one like up here a little bit. Well, then it doesn't sit upright because it needs a stability over here. So what we do, kind of eyeball, I want to put glue Let's see here. And don't be shy with it. And then I glue them at the same time. So I fold this all up. All right, so see, here's our piece. Fold this all up and then add the glue right to the back of here. All right, get it as close to the edge as you can. And then fold this up and corner, corner. Then I pick it up and tap so they're all, everything's flush at the bottom. And then we just got to hold that. Hey, Monica. How are you in Baxter? Good, I hope. All right, then we're going to do the top one. So remember, I want these to go, I want these papers to stay in order. So this top one, same principle. This time, though, I have to turn this whole thing upside down so that I can tap it, so I can get it flush. So same thing. We're going to do glue on this side. And then eyeball where I want to put glue on this flap. Doing well. Awesome. All right, hold this together. Get this down. Tap so they're flush on this side. And squeeze. Now the middle one, we're going to have to eyeball. You can take a measurement. You can take a ruler to it if you want and get it exactly in the center. But I am not really concerned with that. So I'm good with eyeballing and it's going to be good enough. So that's that. So we'll put glue like right here. And then on the back of this. And press. And make sure everything's just lined up on the sides, and it is. And I'm just going to hold all that for a minute. And then we're popping, we're going to stamp our greeting and pop it up. So here we've got our card. So if you were doing something without the designer paper being the focus, I mean, you would just like build a little scene, right? All right. So cute. I must have glue everywhere. All right. Now I do want, let's pop this up now. So get some more foam tape. And these both are looking like they're getting towards the end. So I want tape. I'm going to center this. So I want the foam tape here, here, and right in the middle. All right. So let's just flip this. Hey, Marcia. This one is definitely heavy. All right. Now the middle one, I'm just kind of going to guess. It's not covering. It doesn't have to be, 2 inches wide anyway. Oh, look, this will work. This card is definitely heavy with all these layers and embossing and all that. So this one I'm going to say it's definitely going to cost you 2 stamps. Or this will be something you put in a box, like if you already have to mail a box to someone or hand deliver. But I've got a bunch of extra postage because I would, I mail a bunch of overweight cards anyway. All right. And let's do this. Eyeballing. That looks good. Thanks, Gloria. I love it. So like I said, I'll have the measurements for everybody after tomorrow's, if you missed them earlier. All right, now let's do our greeting. So you've got 2 pieces. You've got white and pebbled path. And I want to stamp in early espresso, just because I kind of want to keep the same thing that I've got here. How pebbled path, early espresso. So pebbled path, early espresso. Now you're going to use whatever greeting fits. I grabbed my Noel from last year's festive, framed and festive. Where'd it go? I just had it. framed and festive. Jeez. But whatever you pick. All right. Now I stamped it kind of like, I want it near the edge here. All right. And then I want to trim it. And I'm probably going to trim this piece too, but I just want it closer. So this big long piece was to give you guys options for your greeting. That's why I'm trimming mine down. All right, so I want it close to this edge, the right edge, and I want to rip it just because I like that, right? And then I'm going to glue this right on the pebbled path. And I did not leave a border. So I glued it right to the end. If you want to leave a border, leave a border. I'm going to go no border. All right, glue that. And let me put my pin in there. And then we're just going to trim up the sides of this greeting and pop it up and add some snowflakes. Now I'm hand cutting. If you're not cool with hand cutting, then don't do it. If you want to trim yours first, go for it. And then I'm going to rip this side too. Just because why not? All right. And then this, we're going to pop it up here. Now notice I only bring this right edge to the edge of the designer paper. If you want to go move it over, so if you like that look better where it breaks up the frame of the early espresso, you can do that. So see the difference? Like here, it kind of looks like, you know, our frame continues. This one, it definitely breaks it up. And sometimes I like that. So actually, let's just do that just so we see the difference for sure. All right, so dimensionals, and 5 after 7, we're good. I'm trying to be cognizant because I want to have all my stuff ready so I can watch Gail at 8 o'clock as well. And then after that, I'm watching a Christmas movie. Hey, Marlene. Hey, Rose. All right. And I'm just going to put that like all the way to the edge. There we go. And then we're going to finish up with some of our snowflakes. So again, I want a big one. And then a medium one, like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. All the sizes. And they can hang off the edge a little. That's okay. And then we'll put one down here. Good Lord. That deer really is super cute. All right, let me get some of this out of the way. Okay, so that was our last card. So again, this is a tri-panel, triple panel Z-fold. And they're all 5 by 7. That was our number 4. Let's drag in the others. Then we had our bird. And I know these are not all going to fit in my camera since I've got it poked down some. But we've got our bird in the blues. Then we've got our fox in the crumb cake and copper. And this is going all over the place. And then we've got our bookbinding fold. So all 5 by 7. All right. So again, I will have all the details I'll have on my blog after tomorrow. But I did, let me show you this banner again real quick, just to explain with the class. You know, if you want to get the packet, email me to sign up. It's 8 different kits, envelopes. You're getting a quarter pack of the One Horse Open Sleigh paper that you will be cutting yourself. And then you get a full pack of the Snowflake assortments. $41 if you're local, and then add $9 shipping. And I do the refund on shipping. So thanks, Julie. I hope you can hang out tomorrow or at least watch later because we'll have 4 different cards. And again, tomorrow will be like 2 more fun folds and then 2 that are pretty straightforward, but layering and stuff. The designer paper, I mean, it really does do most of the work here. That's why I think the fun folds are nice for especially using the designer paper. It makes it easy. And then whatever greetings you have, you use, because we don't all have to have the same thing. Whatever fits, you know, like that cat. If I fits, I sits. Whatever fits on the pieces for your greetings, you use them. Okay, so thanks again. And if you didn't catch me yesterday, I had a BOGO sale, and that is still on my Facebook page. So that's only on my Facebook page. If you want to watch that, I'm only leaving it up till tomorrow at midnight. Good night, Julie. Um, but I suggest you watch it in real time. Otherwise, the comments get jumbled up in Facebook, and you can't. It's harder to tell if something got claimed or not. But you know, that's all there too. Thanks, Deborah. Okay, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. We're on at 8. All right, because I have to go to work. So 8 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll do the next 4 cards. All right, thanks.